Hey guys, it's V-Man from No Budget Production, and with me today is my good friend Jonathan Lane. Jonathan, how we doing, man?
That's my Veer wave from Babylon 5.
Wow, it's a good show. Good show.
Jaden
So,
and I have started watching that. We are actually in season 5 right now. And every time in the opening credits of season 5, when Veer goes, he makes me go like that too.
wow, very cool, very cool. So with us today, I wanted to talk to you about the 2022 Star Trek fan film showrunner awards.
You did
Did
that
I say
right.
that right?
Congratulations. That was a mouthful. Congratulations.
To those that don't know, we practiced beforehand like 20 times, so I didn't get it, didn't get tongue twisted.
2022 Star Trek fan film showrunner awards.
Yes. So I wanted to do this show in particular. It probably won't be a long show, but I wanted it to be a special show focusing on your showrunner awards. Now we've had other film award shows, the Bijou, the
Director's Choice.
Director's Choice.
The Trek.
Yeah. But this one, since you and I are friends and I have time to actually sit down and talk with you, not to negate any of the other ones. I just, I didn't have time with filming and doing everything with my own films. This was, like I said, the first time I've actually had time to just sit down and discuss the award ceremony with someone. So I kind of want to discuss.
Time to shave, by the way. I just noticed that too.
Yeah.
You're going for the Moses look now, aren't you?
I am. I'm going to have my own tablets coming down from, because if it's not going to be tablets, it's going to be pizza rolls,
There you go. I bring you these 10 pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls.
Okay.
So what are they all about? Talk to me like I've never heard of them before. I don't know what they're about. Because they've all been tallied up. We've got the films in, they're all done. But what, as the audience, what are they all about? Why are yours different?
Okay, now you're talking about the award show. You're not talking about the fan films themselves, because
right, the awards show.
We're all entering the same fan films essentially. Okay, so for many years, the Bijou Awards, which were originally the Treklanta Star Trek fan film awards, which were Eric Watts's baby. Eric L. Watts, of course, being the chairperson of the Treklanta, the annual Treklanta mini convention in Atlanta. So the Bijous were our way of celebrating our own fan films, and every year Eric would gather a panel of judges, and these were judges who either had worked on Star Trek professionally or were people who were professionals who had been involved in the science fiction community, and obviously knew about Star Trek as well. The idea was that people who knew how to make film were going to be judging Star Trek fan films, which is great, except that it's not easy to get a panel of professionals, people who normally have working jobs and lots of stuff to do, to sit down and watch anywhere between 10 and 50 hours of Star Trek fan film. But somehow Eric had managed to miraculously assemble that group year after year after year, always a different group of judges. But I had wondered, going into 2022, what it would be like if Star Trek fan filmmakers were judging their own. Obviously not voting for their own fan film. If you're going to enter the showrunner awards, you're proscribed, you're forbidden from voting for any film that you were involved with as any of your top 3 votes. You basically cast 5. Here's my hand. So you cast, your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth choice. And the first choice gets 10 points from you. The second choice gets 7, and then 5, and then 3, and then 1. So I assembled a group of Star Trek fan film showrunners, and hence the Showrunner Awards. That's, easy name, pretty much named itself. And at the same time that I conceived of this, which was early January, like first week of January, still hung over from New Year's, I came up with this idea. And apparently also hung over from New Year's were Glenn Wolfe and Dan Reynolds of Warp 66 Studios in Arkansas. And they also got an idea of doing a fan film festival. And in their case, it wasn't going to be showrunners, it was going to be the directors of the films that applied. So the difference between my judges and their judges is my judges didn't necessarily have to apply. I just wanted a panel that I could count on. And in their case, the way that they got their judges to make sure that they voted was that if you didn't vote, you couldn't win. So that was part of your deal. If you wanted to enter the Director's Choice Awards, you were a director of a film that was entered, you had to cast your ballots. Now, when I first heard about the Director's Choice Awards, and this was within, a week or so of having my epiphany, I also heard that Dan and Glenn had decided to do the Director's Choice Awards because Dan and Glenn were two of the showrunners of the Federation Files that I asked to be on my judging panel. And they said, "Oh, you're doing an award show? We're doing an award show." And the first thing I thought is, well, we don't need to be two award shows. You guys go first. It's okay. I don't need to do it. It was just an idea I had one day. And they were like, no. You know what? The more the merrier. And it seemed like we had different enough ideas. For example, theirs was not going to be limited to just Star Trek. So theirs were all genre fan films. So, there could be a Harry Potter fan film, and there could be a Star Wars fan film, and superhero genre, obviously Star Trek as well. And the other thing that I was doing differently with the Showrunner Awards is, unlike the BJOs and unlike the Director's Choice Awards, they only allowed any fan film that was released in the prior year to be eligible. And I always felt like that was a little bit of, it's kind of unfair if you happen to be competing during the same year as a big whale. Like when Prelude to Axanar came out, there was nobody else that was going to win. And, Star Trek Continues was huge, and Pacific 201, right. Squadron, all of those guys were just going to lock out most of the competition. What if they all competed against each other? Wouldn't that be cool? Put the giants against the giants. So I opened it up and I asked my judging panel, of which, Vance is sitting on the judging panel. He's one of the judges. So every so often I would, do a little vote of the 12-person panel of how, do you think we should do it this way, this way? And we decided to open it up to any Star Trek fan film. And ours were specific Star Trek fan film, released in the last 5 years. And so we get some interesting head-to-heads on this. We get Star Trek First Frontier going up against the Romulan War, going up against Squadron, going up against Interlude, going up against what are some of the other biggies, Agent of New Worlds, and of course a whole bunch of Vance's ones. You entered like 11 different Constar films. And one of the ways that we wanted to make sure that we didn't get like literally hundreds and hundreds of fan films submitted, because Vance alone could give us 125, is we decided to charge. It was going to be $10 to enter plus $1 per additional category. I got that from the Film Freeway film festivals. All these film festivals basically charge you like $25 or $50 or $100 or whatever to enter. And then every other category you want to get in, like best writer or best director, best visual effects or whatever, costs you an extra.
I think we're having a little bit, hold on just a second, Jonathan. I think we're having a little bit of bad connection on your end, buddy.
Oh, that's not good. How bad has it been so far? Let's see. I'm going to switch over to. All right, this is the best I can do.
Oh, that's crystal clear.
Go figure.
Yeah, you are coming through like a yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, there we go. You know, I'll show you guys. Let's see if I can turn my camera around here. This is what my tabs look like on my browser. A lot of these are fan films, GoFundMe's or Indiegogos. There's Wordle. So all that's competing for bandwidth.
Well, we still love you, Jonathan. It's all good.
I love you too. I love all of you, every single one of you. If I have to love you one at a time, just get in line. I will love each one of you one at a time.
See, guys, that's the sacrifices he makes for us for Fan Film Factor. So go support him, guys.
That's true. I do have a Patreon, by the way.
There you go. There you go.
Nobody gives to me anymore, but and some people have decreased stuff because the price of gas has gone up. So, but if you go to fanfilmfactor.com and you look on the right side, there is a link to my Patreon page. And if you give me money, I give you nothing, but I give you love. I give you Fan Film Factor.
Wait a second. So let me get this straight. I give you money, you give me love. That's
Hey, I gave you money and you gave me fan films, which you would have given anyway.
Well, okay? Wait a second. But I'm saying, like, I give you money, you give me love. That's isn't that kind of?
That's right. Yeah, that's the world's oldest profession. Oh yeah, I love you long time.
That's a PG show here, Jonathan.
Not anymore. You just lost your PG rating, kid.
Oh man, this is no budget productions after dark here, you know. So going back to your award, so you had to charge a little bit to kind of help go and keep things going, and also to help it keeping from being, because like some asshat like me would just put like the 100 and some odd films that I had, and just I can tell, you know, everybody. I watching this, I can say that just the films that we've had in it, the 40 some films, was kind of overwhelming for some of the people that were just like, good God, this is a lot of films. And so the price tag of that was to kind of help keep costs low, especially considering the fact that you had not just last year's films or maybe the previous 2 years, but you had 5 years worth of it. So, I mean, realistically, if you didn't have that, you know, hey, give a little bit if you want to register, you would have had hundreds and hundreds of films, you know.
Very possibly, yeah.
And that's the thing, like, realistically, some of these film festivals, like you said, you're going to be paying 20, 30. Realistically, there are some festivals out there that are 50, 60, 70, $100 for one film, and that's just to put it in there. Not even to register, you know, best actor, best actress, that's just to put it in there. You know, so I mean, for me, $10 and then a buck for off the side, that ain't bad, you know. And for me, I you know, knowing some of the films in there, it was a treat to watch them again, because some of them I hadn't seen, most of them I had. But for me, I don't really watch a lot of movies unless it comes across my desk or someone sends it to me and says, hey, watch this. You know, because making them, I'm just like, I don't really want to. Because I kind of tend to analyze movies and then dissect, how is this made? How is this done? You know, so I just tend to just not watch movies, again, unless someone sends it to me and says, no, watch this. What are some of the films, because I'm terrible with names. You're a lot better at that than I am. What are some of the films that are in this that the people can look forward to? Oh, maybe my favorite will win. What are some of the films that are in there?
Well, I'll read them off to you.
Okay.
One of those many tabs I have is links to all the fan films, because I'm going through them as well. There's 39 of them here, so I still have another like 10, I think, to go. So anyway, we got Dreadnought Dominions, A Barrel Full of Quincy's. This is alphabetical because it's a barrel full of Quincy's, not because it's Dreadnought Dominion. A Long Way from Home from Samuel Cockings, who did his Trek shorts. Intrepid's A Treasure for All Ages. The Avalon Universe's Agent of New Worlds, and then Avalon Lost, also from Avalon Universe. Then Beyond the Sun from Aaron Vanderklee of the wonderful continent of Australia. Constar Chronicles Break Free, one of your first major ones, if I remember correctly. And let's see, Chance Encounter, one of my favorite Star Trek fan films of all time, from Gary O'Brien in England. Cosmic Stream, also from the Avalon Universe. Your fellow podcaster, Mr. Frank Parker Jr., Project Gemini Crossroads. Another intrepid one, Duty of Care. Egotastic Trek, his third episode, the TPS reports. That one was weird, let me tell you.
It's worth the watch. If ever you want to get somebody started, if ever you want to get someone started on a fan film, that's the one to start on. Let me tell you.
I'll tell you, the thing is I was completely sober and I had no narcotics in me at all while I was watching it, so I'm not sure I did it right. But yeah.
I tell you, he's one of the friendliest guys though at Anfield you'll meet. He's a wonderful guy.
He's a great guy. He really is. I have to interview him at some point. I have to interview so many people. It's like a whole backlog. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Constar Chronicles Gods and Monsters. One of my other favorite Star Trek fan films, and it's like only 90 seconds long. I Am Spock, starring Jens Dombeck, who is the German Spock, and it's so short. It's so sweet. It's haunting. The music is amazing, and it's just under the heading of you do not have to have a hour-long Star Trek fan film. You can do it in 90 seconds and still make it good. Interlude, of course, that's my fan film, which some people initially, when they heard I was doing this, is, he just wants Interlude to win all the awards. Like, guess what? It's not winning all the awards. It's definitely up there. It's a good fan film, but some very stiff competition there. So there's a lot of places where Interlude is not the top scorer, or even the second scorer, or even the third scorer. And by the way, we are giving away. I forgot to say this. This is another difference. So Eric Watts for the Bijos gives an award and for the best whatever, and then he has a finalist. And the same thing was for the Director's Choice. They had an award, and I think they had a finalist. I'm giving awards to 3 different levels for each category. So there is the Admiral's Award, there is the Captain's Award, and then there's the Commander's Award. And they will each have their own different digital certificate. I'm not sending out physical perks. I can't afford them. But anyway, so you have a Commander's Award for, best cinematography. That still counts. You've got that. So anyway, Last Survivor, one of the many fan films from Matthew Blackburn, who is in the Mojave Desert, and he does a lot of great stuff out there. If you haven't seen his Survivor trilogy, which is now going on to like 6 different fan films, you should check that out. Leviathan from Potemkin Pictures. That's one of the Starship Deimos episodes. We also have a category, by the way, Best Micro-Budget Fan Film, where we are allowing folks to register their fan film as having been produced for $1,000 or less. Because I feel like if you're going up against, Interlude costs $20,000, it's just not fair. Lots of Vance's stuff is micro-budget, paid for by, the money he finds in his couch. So... anyway, Leviathan was definitely it's a front runner there for best micro budget fan film. I was remembering that. Let's see, Menard. That was Constar Chronicles. One of my other favorite fan films, Pacific 201, also doing very well currently. I'm not going to give away the actual winners, but I will tell you, some of these definitely are, the giants. Project Runabout pilot, their pilot episode about a pilot of a runabout. And the title of it is Pilot, about the pilot. It was the pilot episode. Constar Chronicles Rain Cross, you with Paul Jacques, who is also one of our 12 judges. I'm one of the 12 judges, too. But the Rain Cross folks are out about halfway between me and Palm Springs. They're out there by Redlands. Let's see. Razor's Edge, a Nature's Hunger fan film. Yes, those are the guys in in Georgia,
Yep.
who the heart of fan films. Vance
Yep.
has the heart of fan films, as does Jose Cepeda and his group. They build their own sets. They are not
So,
quite up to the Kingsland, Georgia Neutral Zone Studios level, but they're surprisingly close.
and they're such good-hearted and such good-natured people, and it's like you would never know that they don't have the type of sets that the Kingsland, Georgia have. Like you'd never know it, but Joseph Pita, he sent me a flag because I asked him. I said, "Hey man, I'm looking for, where do you get your flags from? Because I'm looking for one, just for Royce. I think it would kind of make his day. And if I ever put Royce in a one of the films, because I write for Frank still, and I'm not opposed to putting Royce in, because he really enjoys filming. So I kind of want to keep that going with Royce. And I was like, I kind of want to put a flag in there somewhere, so I'm kind of, where do you get your flags? Would do you maybe have an extra one? I'll buy from you. He's like, oh, well, Chad, I'll just send you one. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I'll just send it. And so he sent me a United Federations of Planets flag. And it's like, man, that, oh, thank you, man. Like, they're such kind-hearted people, and that's the true nature of Star Trek. I've always said that, like, Michael King is like what a Federation officer is supposed to be like. And the same thing could be said of Joseph Pita and that group. They're kind-hearted, such kind-hearted people.
Exactly. It's one of the reasons why I refuse to be critical of a fan film.
Yeah.
These people do not deserve criticism. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand, something is, it's constructive criticism and made a little better next time. You know what? They're putting their heart and soul into this. And, Nature's Hunger is not going to be Star Trek Continues. But if that's the bar you're setting, you're not being fair.
Yeah.
So, I've watched through every single one of Jose Cepeda's fan films, and he has almost more than you do. And a whole bunch of them in the middle are telling the exact same story, because I think he was just trying to get it right. But if you go to the Nature's Hunger video page, you'll see, like, there's all of these episodes that just tell the story of how they discover Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and she wants to join Starfleet, and you're just kind of watching the same story over and over again in all these different episodes. And I watched through every one. I still haven't interviewed him yet, but I'm ready to. One of those many interviews I had piling up. Redemption at Red Medusa from Dreadnought Dominion. That one's the next one alphabetically. Then Running Up That Hill, where Vance and Frank Parker get to go head-to-head as Eric Menard and Admiral Sam Grissom apparently have a little history. And they get pretty intense. Interestingly enough, Frank voted for you for Best Actor for that one, and I hated to do this because I wanted Vance to have, like, at least something. But remember, if you're in a fan film, if you're a judge and you're in a fan film, you can't vote for that fan film as number 1, 2, or 3. So I had to contact Frank, and I said, dude, I hate to do this to you in Vance, but he can't be your number 1 choice. Anyway, you fell down to number 4 on that one. Let's see, Dreadnought Dominion's Silent Acknowledgement, which I thought was really great. They have a character in there who's Gary Davis's wife, and she is deaf, and she signs. She is a signing communications officer. She uses sign language, and she communicates using a computer translator of what she's saying, and also she gets register. She registers what people are saying to her on her glasses. So even if she's not looking at them to read their lips, she can still see what they're saying, which is kind of cool. Another one of my favorite fan films, Squadron, out of the Czech Republic. It's also doing well. First Frontier, Star Trek First Frontier. That was the story of Captain Robert April and his first journey on board the USS Enterprise. That was made by Kenny Smith a couple of years ago. Temporal Anomaly. That's Sam Cocking's first foray into virtual sets. Now he's the king of virtual sets. But Temporal Anomaly it holds the distinction of being the only fan film to get contacted by CBS with a since the fan film guidelines came out.
What exactly was that for again?
So Sam made the mistake, sadly, of creating a 90-second prelude in his temporal anomaly to set everything up, where he used clips from the various Star Trek, late Star Trek movies, Star Trek Next Generation movies, of Patrick Stewart as Picard and Jonathan Frakes as Riker, and there was Worf, and there was Data, and there was Troy, and anyway, they all appeared very briefly, but it was just to establish we are on the Enterprise E. It wasn't about them, but there's little clips of them, and it was like, okay, they're being drawn into this temporal anomaly. And he put out a teaser a couple of weeks before it was going to air, and well, CBS at that point, this was about a year after the guidelines came out, they were letting most fan films go and do what they wanted to, but one of the big things is you can't use footage from our movies because you're creating confusion in the marketplace. And that's their biggest issue, was confusion in the marketplace. They didn't want people not to subscribe to CBS All Access because they thought they found it for free on YouTube. Yep. So no using Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes and the rest of them. So they called them up. Actually, they emailed them. And they said, look, you can't release your fan film because of this. And Sam said, well, is there any way I can release it if I take this out? I don't want to run afoul of you guys, but I put a lot of time and effort. It's taken me 5 years to get to this point. And they said, okay, well, here's the thing. You have to remove all that footage. You can't use any Star Trek music. So Sam had to take an additional year getting a composer to compose some very good music for it. I think it's actually better with the music that he has, actually. But it did, cost a bundle to do that and to, re-edit everything. But the only problem that Sam had is that this was after the guidelines said you can't have a fan film that's more than a half an hour long, 2 15-minute parts. And he had filmed all this back in 2013, and there was no way, it was like 54 minutes long. There was no way he could edit it down to a half an hour. And to their credit, CBS said, okay, you know what, make those other changes, and we'll let you just this one time release a fan film that goes over the limit. And he did. And that's Temporal Anomaly. And I think, if you have a chance to watch Temporal Anomaly, go for it. All these, by the way, can be found on fanfilmfactor.com. I have a list of fan films. You can go alphabetically. Right there in the middle. If you go to my main navigation or whatever, it'll say list of fan films, and one of them is alphabetically. One of them is by rating, and one of them is by the most recent one that I put up. Let's see. Constar Chronicles, The 11th Hour, another one of your biggies. I haven't watched that one yet. This is where I'm up to, by the way. I'm finishing up Temporal Anomaly right now. So these are the ones I still have to watch. I have to watch The 11th Hour. I have to watch The Federation Files Extraction, which has been getting a surprisingly large number of votes, interestingly enough. And then what I think is probably one of the best fan films that has been produced so far by anybody, The Holy Core. That's once again from Gary O'Brien in Great Britain. He also did Chance Encounter. Both of them are worth seeing. Chance Encounter and The Holy Core. Absolutely brilliant, as they say in Britain. Brilliant! Fan films. The Human Adventure, as our wonderful cosplayers, led by David Chang and camera Mikey, Mike Longo. Mike Longo is one of our judges as well. They are there. Mike plays Admiral Kirk in his Star Trek The Motion Picture cosplay, and David Chang plays Admiral Nagura. And when Kirk says, I'm about to have a meeting with Admiral Nagura that will not last more than 3 minutes, this is that meeting. So I think it does last more than 3 minutes, but it's a very interesting meeting. You should check it out. Dreadnought Dominion, I think one of their best fan films so far. The More Things Change. Just go watch it. It's really good. The Romulan War, Part 1, Mark Nacarado. He is apparently going to be releasing Part 2 at some point very, very soon. He ran into some snags, and part of it, I think, was just waiting for Sam Cockings to finish doing all the effects, because it's one of the most effects-intensive fan films you're ever going to see. This is the Romulan War during the NX era, and there's so many wonderful shots in there. So definitely worth checking out. And then I see a little Little Baby Royce and the Scribbler. That was another one of the Constar Chronicles there. And then after that, the Valhalla Stone. And in fact, there's lots and lots of Constar Chronicles, one after the other. Because after that, I get to watch Tilt-A-Whirl, which I think is actually getting the most votes of any of your fan films, Vance, for whatever reason. So I haven't gotten up to it yet. I can't remember what it's about, so I'll have to see. Then Times Are Changing. That's another one with Jens Dombeck playing the German Spock, or playing Spock. And last but not least, Unsteady, a Star Trek fan production from the Constar Chronicles. So a few more that I have to watch over this coming weekend. Actually, I'm watching them over the week as well because I'm sitting here at home wounded. You guys might not know this, but I'm lying on a pillow pushing it against my rib cage because I wounded myself sneezing. I kid you not, I actually hurt myself sneezing.
Ouch.
Yeah, I went to the emergency room. I actually was in the emergency room from 9:30 p.m. until 4:30 a.m.
Simona did that. She sneezed so hard it like popped one of her ribs or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. You're sneezing your muscles through your ribs, and then the muscles are all like completely inflamed and enlarged, and they're pressing your cartilage into your ribs. And just being like this, if I weren't laying on this pillow right now and pressing it against my rib cage, I would be in incredible pain and discomfort. The only time it's really comfortable for me is when I'm lying down on my side, or laying down. My last name.
Well, I appreciate you chatting with me about the award ceremony, man. I
got wanted my pillow. I'm good.
I wanted to get everybody up to speed on what all was going on with it and what films were in this. Real quick, I think we got about maybe another 2-3 minutes before I got to head out here. When exactly is the award ceremony to take place, and how exactly will you go about letting everybody know this will be going about? Will it be on YouTube, or will it be just in one of your blogs, or how will this be done?
It's easiest just to put it into one of my blogs. I know some people have decided that a fanfare and a big 2.5 hour long presentation is the way to go, and more power to them if they want to do that. For me, it's enough for me to just design a really, really cool certificate, which I'm working on right now. But yeah, it's easy enough just to go to the blog, and I think a lot of folks are going to find out on September 8th whether or not they won, and hopefully the people who didn't win won't be too upset. My big hope for this, and it looks like it's going to happen, was that we wouldn't have just one fan film or just one or two fan films winning like everything. Because that happened once or twice with the Bijo Awards. There were like one or two fan films that really kind of walked away with everything. We've got a good spread happening, which is exactly what I'd hope would happen. But yeah, just put it up on a blog.
Well, the thing about and it's not to kiss your ass or anything, because you and I butted heads plenty of time, right?
Yeah.
Because you and I butted heads plenty of times, and I.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So you know that I have no problem telling you if I think you're wrong, and vice versa. You've told me plenty of times where you're like, look, V-Man, you need to calm the fuck down. Not in those words, but yeah. He doesn't. He's very much always in dad mode, and me, I always tend to forget. Like, oh man, I'm potty mouth. Like Royce goes and grabs the soap and sticks it in my mouth because I got to watch what I think. Yeah.
Vance would call me when Jaden was younger and Vance is in the car and the two of them are on speakerphone, and he's just swearing like a sailor. Like, Vance, I want to remind you that my son's in the back seat.
Yeah, and Royce the same way. Dad, don't say that. Oh shit, I'm sorry, son. Dad, don't say that either. Oh damn it, I'm sorry. Dad, stop saying that. You're right. Mum's the word. So, but no, the thing about it is, with the way you've gone about structuring the voting, the way that we all have communicated, hey, this is what we kind of want to do. What do you guys think? Having it be kind of a democracy about, hey, this is what I like. What do you guys think? The overall decision is yours. But kind of like Captain Picard, when he's sitting there in the briefing room talking to the senior staff, the overall decision's his, but he does kind of listen to everybody else. And then we take a vote. At the end of the day, it is our vote. But like if something's voted that's wrong, you kind of course correct it, and then we go forward. And it is fair, and if I don't win anything from it, hey, at least I know it's done fairly from people who I respect and trust, that it was done right. Yeah, I'm not going to cry foul if I don't win anything. It's like, who cares? Like at the end of the day, this is all done for fun, and it's a little bit of money lost, a little bit of time watching some good fan films. How's that a bad thing? you know, um, I think if the worst thing, you should never go into a film festival like this with her, expecting to win everything, or if you're going to get hurt feelings, you should never enter a contest, because that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing, But I think you're kind of doing it right. I really like how Wolf and Dan did theirs. I think you got two really good award shows. I can't speak of the other ones, but I think the way you guys are doing yours, two individual award ceremonies, it's, I've always kind of avoided them just because of the drama that's always involved with them. But I think, your guys' individual award ceremonies are kind of done properly, and the drama is not really there. So I look forward to reading your blog, whether I win or lose or whatever. I look forward to congratulating whoever wins. you know, so yeah, I think it's going to be a great time to read it, and I'm excited. So good stuff. So
Well, I still got a lot of work to do on my end, though. But God bless you, judges. I've got 10 of the 11 who aren't me, who've gotten their ballots in. I wanted to make sure I had enough lead time on that. So August 15th was their deadline, and the only judge who has not put his ballot in to the jot form is what I'm using for ballots, has told me that he's going to be watching most of them before the end of the week and getting me something. So it'll still be before the deadline, and then I will be the only one who hasn't gotten my ballot in yet.
right on, man. Right on. Well, you say on September 8th, Star Trek Day, right?
Yeah, the anniversary, the 56th anniversary of the first airing of a Star Trek episode on NBC on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m.
Good deal. So not only do we get bombarded with all these Star Trek memes, we get to, jump on over to your page, read a blog, and hopefully see who won the awards. So good deal.
It actually solves a problem for me, because every year I wonder if I should do something, on September 8th to mark the anniversary of Star Trek. And this year, and possibly every year in the future, who knows if we do this again? It seems to be working. This gives me
something to do.
It gives me a lot to do. But you know what? Now that I have the registration forms and the and the ballot forms done online, it should hopefully be easier next year. But and then the good news, I guess, is that we drop off all of the fan films that are 5 years old. So anything that was from 2017 ain't going to be in it again. But you can enter your fan films again. The only thing is you can't win in the same category 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. But if you don't get best fan film, you can enter that one again. So, if you don't get best cinematographer, you can enter that one again. So there could be a lot more films to watch next year. Hopefully you'll still be one of our judges.
Well, we'll see, man. No promises, but it's been drama free, so never say never. So, with that being said, everybody, on September 8th, head on over to Fan Film Factor, check out, see who won, and then head on over to their page, congratulate whoever the winners are to their different films, and go watch those films. Let them know, hey, I love the film, or hey, thought the film stunk. Either way, go comment, go generate some numbers for their page. Either way, I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. With that being said, Jonathan, thank you for being on the show with me today. I appreciate it. And everybody watching, thank you for watching with us. I mean, you could have been anywhere, but you chose to be with us. I'm glad. So that being said, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on.